Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm celebrating 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline, scale, and even sell their business. The greatest thing I've built is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 80 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned and bring on amazing speakers to share their story and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This one is particularly special to me because I am celebrating 10 years of Empower House, which is wild. The anniversary was technically last week. Of course, I knew it was coming up. And then last week came around and I was getting ready for another Brunch Club event and, life in general. And I realized the day after the anniversary that I didn't go and get myself a piece of cake. So I'm definitely doing that. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But I am so grateful, really is the word for this, to have had this business for 10 years. And during that time, I've had the Brunch Club now for 8 years. I started this podcast a year ago as well. Just amazing. We've got like 30 something episodes out now. And I really feel like this business is such a part of me. It's such a part of my life, but it has evolved to help me do the things and work the way that I want to work. And I've had so many beautiful clients along the way. I got to travel all over the world. I've had quick trips to LA and Vegas for friends' 30th and 40th. I've been to Europe and Asia and Africa and just so many cool things. In the Brunch Club, like I said, 8 years we've been doing Brunch Club, and there's been over 1,500 tickets sold and tens of thousands of dollars raised for charity and just unlimited connections and collaborations. And it has been amazing to get to watch all of that from the sidelines for the most part. And you see people come through as a speaker, and the Brunch Club is their first paid speaking gig. And the next thing you know, they're a speaker trainer and they're doing TEDx talks and they're a best-selling author and all of these beautiful things. I love the vehicle that having a business is and what it's allowed me to do, but also what I have then been able to do for other women in business. And it's literally been the whole point. If you know nothing about me, I started my career in business in smash repairs. I first worked for my dad straight out of high school. And then I also spent some time in financial advice. And then I have spent the last 10 years, so the end of my 20s and into my late 30s, running my own business and doing my own thing. I've had some very cool opportunities that only come from working in a family business, being a very young, intelligent, but cocky young woman, and getting to learn the ins and outs of managing staff and finances and quoting and dealing with suppliers and insurance companies. And I did some pretty cool things in the panel shops too. Outside of my dad's shop, I did work in a couple of others and managed there. And I've managed multi-million-dollar businesses as a mid-20s woman, which, you don't see a lot of, or you didn't see a lot of back then anyway. I am glad that things are starting to change a bit in the male-dominated industries, but it was very cool. I had a lot of opportunities that other people probably wouldn't have gotten, because who's handing a whole multi-million-dollar business to someone that's like 23 and 24? Not many people, but here we go. Here I am. And then as well, being able to come back into my dad's business with the things that I had learned. I exited the smash repair industry and the finance industry, and I came back into my dad's business to help him clean it back up and get it ready for sale. And we did that. We took the profit margin was down to about 12.5% when I came back in. We went back to basics and the processes and the systems and all of that sort of stuff. And we turned it around. It was making 30%. And then I got to sell that business too after the business brokers didn't. They had it for about 18 months. And my dad called me one day and he said, hey, if you sell this business, I'll give you X. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I wrote it up and said, this is who the business will suit, and wrote the brief and the outline of the business based on who I knew that was going to be, which, when you've got a very real insight into the lifestyle that particular business was capable of creating. So I put that up on a Friday afternoon, and on Saturday I spoke to the person who it did end up buying that business. So pretty quick turnaround. Just goes to show you need to know who you are selling to so that you can speak to them properly. And I've just managed so many different things. There was I was the first repairer in Southeast Queensland for Toyota Insurance. Again, I went through what they were asking of a repair shop and got the processes and everything written down and documented, and had the different areas and all of the information so that when they came through, we were just ticking all the boxes and won the contract. So yeah, some very cool things. And in between all of that, I learned that I can pick up any system. I have always been able to pick up a software or a system and implement that software and teach people how to use it all at the same time. It is this really interesting mix of like learn and teach and being able to just figure it out and know that that is something that I can do quite well, which I guess just comes down to having confidence, right? I have had some really beautiful clients along the way. And some of these clients, I've worked on their second, third, and fourth companies. We've gotten their company to a point where they've sold it for multi-seven figures. I've then helped them with their husbands and friends and all of this sort of stuff. And I've just got this really beautiful pool of people that I get to work with all the time who are just my kind of people. They're my kind of humans. Our values are aligned. We don't live the same lifestyles or anything like that, but it's just very cool how you can meet your people and look nothing like them and still just love the work that you're doing. So I'm very fortunate to have an amazing group of clients who have stuck with me through quite a few years now, which is amazing. So fun, so fabulous. And like I said before, the Brunch Club has done so many things for the community and for the speakers and been a real launch pad for so many people, which is so cool. And also has been a place for people to just turn up as themselves and meet other people, which I really love. And that's what I was missing when I started that event, was a place that I could turn up and be myself and meet people who are going to understand me. At the time on the Gold Coast, there weren't the kind of networking events that I was really craving. You'd turn up and they'd have 30-second spiels and everyone wanted to hand you a business card and there was no real connection. And so I set out to make an event that was a connection event rather than just your typical networking event. Yes, still introduce yourself, but you can you can be assured that the speaker that's at the front of the room isn't just there to sell you their program, and the other people at the table are actually interested in hearing who you are and what you're doing and what you're working on right now. And I just think that it's really cool. It's so fun to be in that space and just watching people light up because somebody has said something that just sparked an idea, or gave them a perspective that they really hadn't considered before. I obviously have some amazing milestones that I've celebrated, and that's been everything from, making certain revenue, and I bought my first house. I traveled the world. I held a business business retreat over in Morocco, and then traveled through Europe. I've obviously had twins in the last iteration of my business years. I've been nominated. I have nominated myself more specifically, more importantly, I have been nominated for awards. I nominated myself. I've been a finalist in the Australian Small Business Champion Awards and Women's Small Business Champion Awards 4 years in a row. I also won local awards for Businesswoman of the Year, the Innovation Award, the Most Charitable Business twice in a row. And I also won an International Gold Stevie for business innovation in management. So there's so many incredible things that have happened along the way, but it's the awards are lovely, don't get me wrong, but it's the work that I got to do with the clients that I love, and that's the thing that I treasure the most, is these incredible relationships that I got to build, and having front row seats to watching them launch their second, third business, launch an app, create something new, solve problems for a community that needed extra support. There's so many really cool things that I've been able to be a part of, and then celebrate and problem solve when challenges came up and all of that kind of stuff. So yes, awards are amazing and should be used strategically. Absolutely get in there and apply for those, and make sure you have all of your numbers and you're measuring data, and you need to be communicating, though, like hard results, not just fluffy, like, oh, I make people's life better. Like, no, get in there and tell people what you do, and throw your hat in the ring, because why not? Why not? It's so fun. The thing that I really love about business, and you probably heard me say this on my podcast a few times now, but the thing that I really love about business, for women specifically, is the freedom. You have the freedom to choose the way your life is going. You get to choose how you want to work, and where you want to work, and what hours you're going to keep, and how people can work with you, and the kind of people that you want to work with. And you can make that fit in around your family, your social life, your traveling, your investments, your sporting and community commitments, whatever that looks like for you. You get to choose that. And I know I have put in a lot of hours before for employers, where, I would stay back late and I would start early, and that kind of thing. And yeah, I got paid for that time, but there's something really special about putting that kind of energy into something that is your own. And there has never been a better time for a woman to start her own thing and get free of other people's expectations, and get free of the limitations that you are experiencing in your career and in your relationships and in your life. You can absolutely step outside of that at any time. At any moment that you choose, you can literally just say, I'm going to do this thing, and run at it head first, 120%, and make it your own. You don't have to do things the way that other people have done them. And I do think that, especially with the way that women's health and well-being, and the way that we're expected to function in a society that was clearly not built for us, I think that having a business can solve so much of that. And how cool you can have a business and run it basically from your phone. And as long as you've got a Wi-Fi connection or an internet connection of some description, you can get shit done. And why wouldn't you do that? Like, how fun, how cool. Why wouldn't you just create a life that you actually want to live, rather than living up to somebody else's expectations? Anyway, I am going down a rabbit hole with that one. But I do appreciate, the person that started this business was desperate, and there's no other way to color it. I finished up my job in financial advice, and I was applying for everything. I was not hearing anything back from anybody. I didn't even get a rejection email, let alone a job interview, and I applied for everything, whether I was qualified, overqualified, underqualified, didn't matter. I applied for everything pretty much other than like flipping burgers. Like that's where I was at, but I just got silence, absolute crickets in return, and I just went, well, I have spoken so much about having my own business and doing my own thing that I'm just going to pull the trigger, and what could go wrong? And when you're hungry and scrappy and just hustling, and I did whatever job to make money that week and pay my mortgage and keep food on the table, and it worked. You somehow sort of just build up that confidence and figure out who you want to be when you grow up. And yeah, that can change and evolve as it has for me. Now that is giving me the opportunity to work much fewer hours, but still also be present for my girls who are growing very quickly and are becoming very sassy. But I have so many beautiful connections with community, and I have such an amazing network, and I am just really grateful to be here and to have this beautiful business that I am celebrating 10 years of, and 8 years worth of Brunch Club events. That's over 80 live events, which is just crazy. Considering that I hosted basically all of that except for when I was like pregnant and just had babies. So that's crazy. I can't believe that. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. And then as well, starting this podcast while I was walking the pram so the babies would sleep, because that's how they would sleep at that time. So thank you for being here. I would challenge you to back yourself in whatever your dream is and stop playing small and just take some form of action. Why don't you come and slide into my DMs and tell me what your dream is and what you're going to take action on. You will find me at empower.house on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. And again, thank you for being here. What a cool little celebration. Happy 10 years of Empower House to me.
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please remember to share it with somebody else who you think will enjoy it too. I would love it if you leave a review, which helps me reach more people just like you. And don't forget to come and join me on Instagram at empower.house. Thank you, darling.